G'day guys and gal. Despite being a tiny empire in a massive and very eventful galaxy, everyone knows and has a strong opinion about the Tau. These level-headed peace lovers seem to be universally hated by everyone who doesn't play them, and at face value, it doesn't seem to make sense. Like, Tau propaganda is bloody great. But from Asian aesthetics, communist memes, and questionable balancing of their tabletop models, the Tau have become by far the most controversial of all Warhammer factions. Before we get started, a new year can herald new change. Maybe you want to change your lifestyle, the people you surround yourself with, or even your gender. However, some things don't change, like the Majorkill Surfshark sponsorship! Mad props to my favorite VPN on the market for being one of the only brands to never reject any of my ideas or scripts, despite my best efforts. What is Surfshark and why is it relevant to you? Surfshark is a service that allows you to mask your identity while you browse the internet of other countries using a VPN. This is handy as it allows you to do stuff like expand your Netflix library, but it also has a bunch of other uses, such as bypassing obnoxious government firewalls or restrictions on your internet. So if you want to look at some forbidden shit like, I don't know, how to overthrow the corrupt dictator of Kazakhstan, then this is where you'd go. Using my linking code Majorkill below, Surfshark is offering a massive 83% off and 3 months free. Unreal value. And if somehow you're unsatisfied with your purchase, or the people of Kazakhstan achieved democracy, then Surfshark is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. Cheers to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Today we'll be going through each aspect of the Tau that has stirred up controversy. We'll look at why people get mad about them, and if their agitation and disdain is valid, or if they're just being a bunch of weird little pussies about it. Let's get into it. So just for some context, because I often forget that not everyone uses Warhammer lore as wank material like I do. Who or what are the Tau? The Tau are an alien species of blue bovine humanoids who are known for their wildly fast technological evolution, going from a bunch of warring savages to a high-tech galactic empire within only a few thousand years. Like, there's a bit of lore where the Tau take down a Space Marine dreadnought and they are shocked to discover the Dready is older than their entire culture. Due to their lack of psychers, as well as their lack of knowledge about the galaxy as a whole, they are considered to be very naive and non-superstitious. They believe demons are just like weird aliens, that titans are mostly just propaganda, and when they killed their first enemy Space Marine, they thought they had taken down the Emperor that all the humans kept yarning on about. They were also, at least initially, genuinely good people, the first actually morally good faction in 40k, which brings us to the first problem people had with them. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there can be no good guys. The Tau were peaceful and pragmatic. They were more than happy to throw their Gundams at bad guys when they needed to, but for the most part, they were always happy to accept all sorts of creatures and aliens into their empire. Their assimilation of other species wasn't even invasive or weird. They allowed the crew to keep eating dead people and praising their gods, even though they didn't vibe with it. And they even allowed the humans who joined their empire to continue to worship the Emperor as their god. All they cared about was that everyone in their empire would strive towards the concept known as the greater good. This basically meant that everything people did should be for the betterment of the Tau Empire, and as an extension of that, the galaxy as a whole. So yeah, like, low-key can't really fault the Tau Empire at all here. They weren't scared of invention and innovation, and they straight up made the Imperium look like even bigger assholes than they were. Like, there's a bit of lore where a few human worlds near the Tau Empire find some Tau agricultural tech, and their food production dramatically increases. When the Imperium discovers this, all the farmers are sent to hard labor camps to work until they die. Kinda grimdark in my opinion. I can see why this would have annoyed non-Tau fans. A lot of the Imperium's actions become unjustifiable and unnecessary cruel if there's an obvious alternative being rubbed in their faces. To appease the raging neckbeards that take the lore of their little plastic toys a little bit too seriously, GW decided to make the Tau's morality questionable by making it seem as if the Ethereals, the Tau's leaders, are manipulating and mind-controlling their people to achieve dominance. They have been revealed to be an oppressive government who censors and even dispose of anyone critical to their rule. They have fed the Tau lies, stating that without the Ethereals, the Tau would devolve back into savages. They also don't allow the Tau to research or invest in life-extending technologies, as the main advantage the Ethereals have over the rest of the Tau is their significantly longer lifespans. The creation and existence of the Farside Enclaves, which is a mini Tau empire that has no Ethereals, has proven the Ethereals to be liars, as it is a very high-functioning society. So whilst GW did take steps to make the Tau less benevolent, they kinda undid that with the creation of the Farside Enclaves, who are arguably the only totally noble and good faction in the entire setting. I personally think the Tau being naive and having an optimistic view of the setting is quite cute and charming. We have so many factions that do so many fucked up things to each other that it's quite refreshing to see a race that is genuinely trying not to be grimdark. It's always a joy to read lore snippets of when Tau discover wacky grimdark shit the other factions do. Their reactions are always priceless. I don't have an issue with the Tau's lack of grimdark, but that is why some of the more culty members of the fandom do. The next issue people have with the Tau, and this is probably the biggest, at least it's the most memed, is the fact that them Tau are a bunch of dirty ass vag-head commies. America, fuck yeah. There is a large misconception that the Tau are full communist, and that's that. I do accept some of the blame here. In my Tau video, I did make Tau commie jokes, and as a lot of people didn't like the Tau, many people were happy to just kind of jump on the fuck the Xeno communist train. I even once saw a Reddit post where a guy pulled out his Tau army to play a match against a random guy, and the guy saw his army, packed up his own army, and then said, "I don't play with communists." I'm not sure if that actually happened or not, but by this point I honestly wouldn't be surprised. So I will say this now, although the Tau Empire has aspects of communism in its culture and political structure, it isn't just a commie empire. It's a combination of multiple Asian cultures all gelled into one. Allow me to elaborate. The Tau employ the use of a strict caste system. Fire caste is their warriors, water caste is their diplomats, air caste is their pilots, earth caste is their builders, and the ethereal caste is their leaders. I say strict, as each caste are forbidden from interbreeding with the others. The caste system is based on Hinduism and was used by Indians. The Hindu system was like a pyramid, however the Tau system is like this. I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, it's a bit different. To the commie haters' credit, the Tau caste system is like a combination of Hindu and communist, as everything beneath the government is equal, whilst the pure caste system has different layers beneath the priests and teachers. Then when we throw in the Japanese influence in the form of the Tau Gundams and armor aesthetics, it starts to get a little confusing. This is why you hear people call the Tau a bunch of weebs and communists, even though the two don't have much overlap. To be politically correct, if you wanted to insult a Tau player, you gotta call them a curry-munching, hentai-loving, freedom-hating bitch. Although you can probably swap out the bitch with anything as it's not directly relevant to their culture. Actually, that's a lie. The Tau don't melee, so they are a bunch of bitches. My point is that to call the Tau a bunch of communists and then call it a day is not only lazy, but it's also incorrect and incomplete. If you're gonna shit on someone, you gotta do it right. Give them the entire Majorkill experience. Speaking of melee, another little gripe people have with the Tau is their near total aversion to getting up close and personal. When badass howling banshees are charging in, swords drawn, or blood angels are jetpacking straight into the enemy with their chain blades whirring, it's pretty fucking cool. A setting where everyone has future tech but still chooses hand-to-hand combat is a setting that I'm glad I'm involved in. But the Tau just didn't get the memo. They use a lot of ranged weapons and they have no designated melee troops. Their vibe is just shoot from far away and hope the enemy doesn't get close enough to tear them a new arsehole. The only way they were able to get something that resembles a melee frontline is when they fight alongside their crude allies. A lot of Warhammer fans aren't happy about this. Their legendary helmetless heroes getting sniped from a kilometer away is way less epic than them having a fucking wild sword fight with a big ass demon. Recently, the Tau are gaining a bit more of an aptitude for melee, thanks to Commander Farsight, who wields a sweet-ass spicy vampire sword, as well as the fact that those battlesuits should definitely be able to throw hands, but to this day, the Tau are not known for their melee, and that's okay, it's just another thing that sets them apart from an already crowded setting. A lot of the gripes I discussed here were about the Tau's lore, and they didn't have much to do with their tabletop gameplay, but there's definitely something here people hate, especially since the new 9th edition reveals. Looking at you, Railgun. Now I'll admit, I don't know much about the tabletop game. I'm currently in the process of painting up some armies and then I'll get the codexes and then I'm going to learn how to play. But until then, I don't have crazy deep insight. But in saying that, the fact that despite not playing, I know people are mad about the Tau and the tabletop, that should speak to how annoyed people are right now. The Tau have been given a few new toys that fit in the anti-fun category, the first and most well-known of which is the Tau Railgun, which can more or less pretty much one-shot anything. Imagine you just spent hours painting your Gilliman, you whip him out and you're so excited to see what he can do, and blam! One shot from some fucking random Tau gun and he's dead. Imagine that being his in-law death. Now, like I said, I don't know much about the game, and I'm sure the railgun has drawbacks and other things that balance it out. But if my hero is going to go down in battle, I want it to be after fucking up a group of Carnifexes and holding the line long enough for my flanking force to reach the enemy's backline, not for him to just get insta-cum blasted out of the game by some pew-pew across the map. There is a few other Tau toys that have a similar level of anti-fun one-shot vibes, but the railgun is the one I've been seeing pop up everywhere. I honestly can't tell if the mad people are justified here. Is it a valid tool to make the Tau competitive, or is it a cheesy, unbalanced tool that is going to get spammed and abused every game from now on? Time will tell. At least when I finally get my Custodes onto the table, I'll know to clench my asshole tight if my opponent whips out a bunch of hammerheads with railguns. So looking at the facts today, is the hate towards the Tau justified? Are people allowed to be mad, or do they just need to chill the fuck out? I would say, yeah, chill out. It's a great game with deep lore, but shit like bullying Tau players because you don't understand the difference between the Chinese Communist Party and a bunch of aliens that take inspiration from multiple Asian cultures is retarded. If you're gonna bully someone, you just gotta do it right, guys. Curry munching, hentai loving, freedom hating bitch. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Where only $1 per month give you access to some Tau certified hentai. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more hateful content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.